What if the past is not silent, but simply speaking in a language we no longer understand? Across the world, there are traces of civilizations that should not exist. Machines built before their time, cities swallowed by jungle and sea, symbols carved so large they were never meant to be seen from the ground. These are not legends. They are real, and modern science has no final answers for them. Every discovery pushes us forward, yet somehow, the deeper we dig, the more unsettling the questions become. Who were these people? What did they know? And why does so much of their knowledge feel deliberately out of reach? Tonight, we step into that silence, not to solve it, but to listen, because some mysteries were never meant to be conquered, only felt.
Night has a way of softening the edges of the world. When the noise of the day fades and darkness settles, the mind begins to wander toward quieter corridors, places where light doesn't fully reach, where the past lingers in fragments and whispers. This opening section gently invites the listener into that space, a space suspended between what we know and what we can only feel. Here, the ancient world rises like distant silhouettes through a mist, familiar in shape, yet impossible to understand completely. For every piece of history humanity has uncovered, there remains another piece buried deeper, resisting explanation, tugging at the imagination with a silent persistence. Across deserts, oceans, forests, and forgotten ruins, there are mysteries that refuse to vanish, no matter how advanced our instruments become. Archaeology, astronomy, genetics, engineering, each field has made strides that would have astonished our ancestors. And yet, even under the brightest beam of modern science, some questions remain wrapped in shadow. Civilizations long gone, their names unknown or barely remembered, have left behind signs of their presence. Carved stones, cryptic symbols, impossible mechanisms, and legends that echo with the faint ring of truth. These remnants stand at the threshold between myth and reality, waiting for us to interpret them, even as they resist our attempts with calm indifference. As we begin this journey, it is important to approach these mysteries not with the urgency of solving them, but with the gentleness of observing them. Much like stargazing on a quiet night, the experience is not about reaching the stars, but about witnessing their distant glow. The same applies to ancient enigmas. They draw us in not because we expect clear answers, but because the questions themselves are beautiful. The tension between certainty and uncertainty, between what is illuminated and what remains hidden, creates a kind of soft fascination, one that lingers, one that calms the mind while stirring curiosity. Imagine standing among the ruins of a civilization that vanished thousands of years before your ancestors took their first steps. The air is still. Wind moves through empty doorways and across engraved stones, as if repeating words whose meanings have long been lost. You can see the shapes and signs left behind, but the voices of the people who made them have been swallowed by time. This sensation of touching something undeniably real, yet fundamentally unknowable, is at the heart of every ancient mystery that continues to haunt modern science. It is not fear that arises, but a gentle unease, an awareness that history is far deeper and far stranger than the comfortable timelines we construct to understand it. There is a unique kind of peace that exists in recognizing the limits of knowledge. Modern tools can scan beneath the earth, read genetic sequences, and analyze materials with microscopic precision. But none of these can fully recreate the minds of the people who shaped these mysteries. Their beliefs, their rituals, their fears, and their ambitions remain just out of reach. And in that distance, in that space where data and imagination drift together, we find the soft, eerie beauty of the past. To explore ancient mysteries is to listen for echoes, echoes that may never resolve into a clear voice, yet resonate deeply nonetheless. This documentary traces a path through some of the most haunting enigmas ever uncovered. Vast symbols etched into desert floors, ancient temples older than recorded history, mechanisms centuries ahead of their time, scripts no one alive can read, and artifacts that seem to defy their eras. Each one represents a place where knowledge meets its boundary. Each one has challenged scientists, historians, and curious minds for generations. But instead of framing these scenes as unsolved puzzles waiting for a single solution, we approach them like soft lanterns glowing in a dark landscape, markers of human ingenuity, mystery, and legacy. As we journey together, the tone remains slow and mindful. We move through each mystery like travelers walking through a quiet museum at night, the echo of our footsteps softened by the dark. With each step, we notice details we might have missed in daylight. The curve of an ancient carving, the alignment of stones with the sky, the careful engineering hidden in weathered fragments. These details blend with the unknown, creating contrasts that give depth to the narrative. Light versus shadow, past versus present, evidence versus uncertainty. Each duality enriches the experience, reminding us that the world is rarely one thing or the other, but more often a blend of both. There is comfort to be found in these contrasts. The known offers grounding, the unknown wonder. Together, they create a balance that invites reflection rather than anxiety. Ancient mysteries, when approached gently, feel less like challenges and more like invitations to think, to imagine, to breathe a little slower. They remind us that humanity has always reached for understanding, even when the answers stood beyond the horizon. And that reaching, that curiosity, is itself a kind of heritage. In the quiet of night, it becomes easier to appreciate how small we are compared to the vastness of time. Civilizations rise and fall, leaving only fragments behind. Nature shifts, reshapes, and reclaims what once belonged to humans. Yet some artifacts endure, stone resisting erosion, metals surviving corrosion, symbols remaining intact even when their meanings dissolve. These survivors form a fragile bridge between the ancient world and our own. Stepping onto this bridge, we sense both the distance and the connection, an eerie closeness to people we will never meet. As this section draws to a close, the veil begins to part, revealing the first steps of the journey ahead. The mysteries we will explore are not chosen because they are the strangest or the most dramatic, but because they embody the delicate balance between understanding and wonder. They show us a world where science shines brightly, yet shadows persist, shadows not of danger, but of beauty, depth, and enduring questions. Now, with the mind quiet and the senses attuned to gentle curiosity, we step forward into the first mystery waiting just beyond the horizon. Across the vast, silent desert plains of southern Peru, there lies a landscape that feels almost like another world, flat, dry, and stretching endlessly toward the horizon. It is here, in this arid quiet, that the Nazca lines reveal themselves not immediately, but gradually, as though waiting for the right angle of light or the right height above the earth. On the ground, they appear like faint scratches or shallow trenches carved into the dusty surface. But from above, from viewpoints that ancient people should have never possessed, they shift into breathtaking forms. Hummingbirds, spiders, monkeys, spirals, geometric shapes, and perfectly straight lines spanning miles. This second section invites listeners to float over these desert glyphs with a calm, dreamlike detachment, observing their eerie beauty and contemplating the questions they raise. The Nazca lines embody an unusual type of mystery, one that rests in plain sight, yet remains strangely inaccessible. Their scale is astonishing, their precision remarkable, and their endurance almost supernatural. For more than 1,000 years, the desert has preserved them like fragile ink on fading parchment, untouched by wind thanks to the region's unique climate. The mere fact that these drawings have survived for so long creates a quiet sense of reverence. Beneath the sunlight, they seem to whisper of intentions long forgotten, inviting a gentle curiosity rather than a frantic search for answers. Scientists and archaeologists have studied the lines for decades, offering a range of interpretations. Some believe they were ritual pathways, lines walked ceremonially during religious processions, their shapes less important than the act of movement. Others argue the glyphs relate to astronomy, markers aligning with celestial events, guiding agricultural cycles, or mapping the positions of stars. Some researchers suggest the lines formed part of a water-related belief system, pointing toward underground aquifers or symbolizing offerings to deities who governed rainfall in this harsh climate. These theories, though grounded in logic and research, coexist with a feeling that none fully capture the essence of these desert drawings. The Nazca people, who flourished between 200 BCE and 800 CE, left behind pottery, textiles, and remains of their settlements, traces of daily life that help paint a portrait of their world. Yet their large-scale geoglyphs offer a different glimpse, one that feels both personal and cosmic. The precision with which they remove the reddish top layer of soil to reveal the lighter earth beneath suggests intention and care. The animals depicted, each one stylized and expressive, seem to reflect creatures they admired, feared, or honored. Why these shapes? Why these sizes? Why so many lines that extend for kilometers, straight as if drawn by tools we associate with far later societies? These questions drift like quiet echoes through the desert air. One of the most haunting aspects of the Nazca lines is the paradox of their visibility. They were created on such a mammoth scale that their true forms can only be appreciated from high above. Yet the Nazca people had no aircraft, no hot air balloons, no elevated platforms of a height capable of revealing the full images. This contrast between human hands crafting something too large for human eyes gives the lines an eerie, otherworldly quality. It is as though the people designed these figures not for themselves, but for the sky itself. Whether meant for gods, spirits, or symbolic watchers above, this upward-facing intention adds a layer of quiet mystery to the glyph's meaning. Even the straight lines, some stretching across the desert for miles, defy easy explanation. Maintaining such perfect alignment without modern surveying equipment seems challenging even today. Yet the Nazca accomplished it with a consistency and scale that suggests deep knowledge of geometry and spatial planning. And still, the patterns do not align neatly with any singular purpose or known system. Some intersect, some form triangles or trapezoids, some simply reach toward distant mountains. They behave like messages meant for someone, but the recipient and the message remain unknown. Modern researchers have used drones, mapping technologies, and satellite imagery to uncover hundreds of lines and shapes previously hidden from view. Each discovery adds detail to the Nazca puzzle, but rarely brings clarity. A new animal figure might be revealed. A cat, a whale, a bird, its meaning immediately captivating, yet ultimately enigmatic. The desert keeps its secrets beneath a veil of timelessness, offering glimpses but never the full story. This withholding, gentle yet deliberate, deepens the mystery rather than diminishing it. Some more speculative theories have suggested that the lines were indicators for water navigation, serving as giant markers pointing to sources of subterranean streams. Others propose they formed part of rituals related to fertility, prosperity, or cosmology. And then, outside academic circles, the whisper of alternative interpretations occasionally surfaces, questions about extraterrestrial influence or communication with beings beyond human understanding. While unsupported by evidence, these interpretations reveal just how deeply the Nazca lines stir the imagination. The calm silence of the desert seems to welcome such thoughts, not with urgency, but with possibility. The landscape itself contributes to the atmosphere. The Nazca Desert is dry, quiet, and stark, with an almost lunar stillness. No trees grow here, no rivers flow. The earth is bare, exposed beneath a relentless sun. In this emptiness, the lines take on a solemn presence, as if watching over the land or guarding memories of a society that lived in harmony with its environment. Standing among them, one might feel a gentle hum, a faint awareness of a civilization that once looked to the heavens for guidance, security, and meaning. Even today, scholars debate how the Nazca saw themselves in relation to the cosmos. The glyphs might have served as a bridge between earthly life and divine forces, a way to communicate hopes or express gratitude. Or they may have been communal projects that brought society together, reinforcing identity and shared belief. Whatever their function, their creation required coordination, labor, and a profound sense of purpose. Their existence suggests a culture that viewed the world through lenses we may not fully understand, blending art, ritual, environment, and celestial observation into a single expression. As we float mentally above the desert, slowly drifting across the shapes and lines under a fading sun, the mystery becomes less about answers and more about perspective. The Nazca lines remind us that ancient people were capable of extraordinary complexity, intellectually, spiritually, and artistically. They also remind us that some expressions are not meant to be decoded fully. Some are meant to be felt, appreciated, and contemplated. Their silence is not emptiness. It is a form of communication that transcends language, offering a quiet space for reflection. This section gently leads the listener into the heart of the documentary's larger theme, that the ancient world is full of creations that speak softly yet profoundly, inviting us to witness without necessarily concluding. From the desert floor of Peru, we turn toward another place where the past challenges our sense of time itself. A hill in southeastern Turkey, where a sanctuary older than recorded history waits in the shadows of deep antiquity. In the rolling hills of southeastern Turkey, near the modern town of Sanliurfa, lies a place that seems almost suspended in time. Göbekli Tepe, a series of monumental stone circles and carved pillars, rises from the earth as if the landscape itself had decided to leave a message for the future. Unlike many archaeological sites, it was not discovered in fragments of collapsed civilizations or hidden beneath centuries of soil. It was deliberately buried, sealed away with a quiet intent that has puzzled scientists and historians for decades. This third section invites listeners to step slowly into the shadows of this ancient sanctuary, to feel the weight of its age, and to consider the delicate tension between the known and the unknowable. Göbekli Tepe dates back more than 11,000 years, predating Stonehenge by 6 millennia and the Egyptian pyramids by nearly 7,000 years. It was constructed by hunter-gatherer societies who, according to conventional understanding, should have had neither the tools nor the social organization necessary to build such monumental structures. The sheer scale of the site is breathtaking. Massive T-shaped pillars carved with detailed depictions of animals, abstract symbols, and possibly even narrative scenes rise from the earth, arranged in circles that suggest purpose and planning. The contrasts here are striking. Primitive tools shaping extraordinarily complex forms, simple societies orchestrating extraordinary feats, ephemeral human life leaving behind enduring stone. The carvings on the pillars themselves evoke a sense of quiet awe. Snakes, boars, foxes, vultures, and abstract symbols intertwine in ways that suggest symbolic thinking, storytelling, or ritual practice. Each depiction is precise, deliberate, and remarkably detailed. It is tempting to interpret these images as literal, representations of the fauna surrounding the ancient builders, but their arrangement and recurring patterns hint at meanings that remain elusive. Were they spiritual guides, totems of protection, or cosmic maps? The site does not answer. It only invites contemplation, offering glimpses of understanding that evaporate as quickly as they appear. Archaeologists have long debated the purpose of Göbekli Tepe. Some suggest it was a sanctuary for early religious gatherings, a place where hunter-gatherers came together to form social bonds through ritual. Others see it as an early expression of symbolic thought, a physical manifestation of ideas that would eventually evolve into organized religion. Its sudden and deliberate burial adds another layer of mystery, as though the builders intended to hide their creation from future generations or perhaps to preserve it for a time beyond their own. The act of burial, slow and meticulous, transforms the site into a puzzle that extends across millennia, a question waiting for a patient answer. Despite its age, Göbekli Tepe challenges modern assumptions about the origins of civilization. Previously, scholars believed that agriculture came first, followed by settlement, and then monumental architecture. Yet here, a sophisticated site emerges before evidence of large-scale farming. The implication is profound. Humans may have begun gathering into social and spiritual centers before fully understanding how to cultivate the land. This inversion of conventional timelines evokes a quiet disorientation, a reminder that history is not always linear, that progress does not always follow the paths we imagine. Exploration of the site today is deliberate and careful. The pillars, some weighing tens of tons, bear the marks of ancient chisels, but their placement and orientation suggest knowledge of geometry and communal planning that is still admired by modern engineers. Excavation proceeds slowly, each unearthed pillar revealing more questions than answers. What drove these hunter-gatherers to commit immense labor to structures they themselves could not live inside? Were these circles purely spiritual, or did they serve multiple purposes, social, astronomical, and perhaps even political? Each discovery feels like a whisper from a long-dead mind, guiding us without revealing its full intent. Göbekli Tepe's contrast with the surrounding landscape is profound. The hills themselves are gentle, unassuming, dotted with scrub and sparse vegetation. Yet amidst this simplicity, the stone circles rise with an almost sacred presence, asserting a permanence that outlasts generations and empires. It is as though the land allowed a fragment of human vision to persist, untouched by the erosion of time. Standing, or imagining standing, amid these silent pillars, one senses a dialogue across millennia. The ancient builders reaching forward, the modern observer reaching back, both connected by curiosity and the desire to understand. The deliberate carvings of animals, particularly predatory ones, evoke another layer of quiet tension. They suggest humans were thinking not only about themselves, but about forces beyond themselves: nature, danger, life, and death. This awareness imbues the site with a subtle eeriness. It is both welcoming and forbidding, a place of congregation, yet also a place of contemplation. The silence here is not empty. It is filled with the presence of absence, of thought, of ritual long faded from memory, yet enduring in form. Each pillar stands like a sentinel, guarding knowledge that we can glimpse but never fully possess. Göbekli Tepe also challenges modern imagination. For every piece of the puzzle uncovered, there is another fragment that deepens the enigma. The complexity of the site suggests that the builders had concepts of community, ceremony, and symbolism far beyond what was previously assumed for hunter-gatherers. This invites reflection not just on ancient history, but on the human capacity for creativity, organization, and meaning-making. The mind stretches across time, seeking connections, patterns, and insight, only to be met by the calm silence of stone and earth. Even the act of uncovering Göbekli Tepe is meditative. Archaeologists slowly brush away layers of soil, revealing surfaces untouched for thousands of years. Each exposed carving feels intimate, a private conversation between the past and present. The experience emphasizes patience, reverence, and humility. In the quiet of the excavation, modern humans are reminded that some knowledge is not meant to be rushed, some mysteries not meant to be solved quickly. The mystery itself becomes the lesson, offering a gentle but profound reminder of the depth of time and the ingenuity of human imagination. As the section draws to a close, the story of Göbekli Tepe leaves listeners suspended between wonder and contemplation. Its stones speak in soft echoes, hinting at social structures, spiritual life, and cognitive abilities that challenge conventional narratives. The sanctuary is older than myth, yet it resonates with a timeless human longing for meaning, connection, and permanence. From the quiet hills of Turkey, the narrative gently shifts toward another enigma, one submerged beneath the waves, where human ingenuity and mystery meet in the form of an ancient mechanism whose secrets continue to puzzle science. Far beneath the turquoise waves of the Aegean Sea, off the coast of the Greek island Antikythera, a sunken ship holds a secret that has baffled scientists for over a century. The Antikythera mechanism, recovered in 1901 from the wreckage of this ancient vessel, is not merely an artifact. It is a testament to human ingenuity, precision, and the tantalizing mystery of knowledge lost in time. This section gently draws listeners into the story of this extraordinary device, a mechanical instrument whose purpose, sophistication, and origins continue to intrigue experts and dreamers alike. Unlike monuments etched into the earth, this is a mystery submerged, waiting patiently to whisper its secrets to those who seek them. The device itself is deceptively small. Composed of bronze gears and dials, it fits in the palm of a hand, yet it encapsulates a complexity that rivals astronomical clocks built thousands of years later. Early researchers initially saw only fragments of its corroded pieces, but careful study revealed a sophisticated system capable of predicting celestial movements, including the positions of the sun, moon, and possibly even the planets. It could track lunar phases, eclipses, and the intricate cycles of the ancient Greek calendar. The precision of its construction suggests an understanding of mathematics, astronomy, and mechanical engineering far beyond what was thought possible for the Hellenistic period, around the 1st century BCE. There's an almost haunting quality to this machine. Its small, interlocking gears turn invisibly, a silent testament to an intellect that vanished with time. Unlike monumental structures or written records, which leave their messages open to interpretation, the Antikythera mechanism speaks in mechanical language, a dialogue of cog and gear. The motions it once executed are now frozen, yet the complexity hints at the sophisticated thoughts and calculations of its maker. Listeners are invited to imagine a mind, centuries ago, envisioning celestial patterns with the same care that a modern engineer might apply to a clock, all without the benefit of metalworking techniques that would not reappear for millennia. One of the most striking contrasts is the device's clarity versus the mystery surrounding it. Modern technology allows us to reconstruct its functions through 3D modeling and X-ray imaging, revealing the interlocking wheels and pinions with stunning detail. Yet, for all the clarity of its design, the broader context remains elusive. Who built it? For what precise purpose? And how widely such technology was understood in the ancient world are questions that continue to puzzle scholars. Unlike a building, which communicates its purpose through size, location, and use, the Antikythera mechanism conceals its full story, offering only glimpses of its intended role and significance. The shipwreck itself adds another layer of intrigue. Why did such a valuable and delicate instrument end up at the bottom of the sea? The vessel, likely a merchant ship, carried luxury goods, statues, and possibly other technological marvels. The mechanism, packed carefully among these items, suggests it was highly prized, yet it succumbed to the randomness of maritime disaster. Here, nature intersects with human history, depositing the device into obscurity for centuries. Its eventual discovery feels almost like a whisper from the past, a secret momentarily shared with the present, inviting us to marvel at ingenuity long hidden beneath layers of silt and corrosion. Researchers have attempted to reconstruct the Antikythera mechanism to understand its functions fully. Each successful model reveals new surprises. The anticipation of eclipses, the prediction of lunar nodal cycles, and possibly even connections to Olympiad calendars. The machine embodies both order and complexity, demonstrating that ancient civilizations were capable of abstract thought, mechanical design, and systematic observation of the heavens. Yet, even as the pieces fit together mechanically, the broader cultural context remains largely unknown. Unlike written manuscripts or monuments, the mechanism communicates a kind of quiet, technical poetry, leaving much to imagination and interpretation. Its sophistication also prompts reflection on the fragility of knowledge. How could a device so advanced vanish from history, its principles forgotten for centuries? This loss contrasts starkly with the precision of its design, highlighting how human understanding is not always linear. The mechanism suggests that scientific and technological knowledge can emerge unexpectedly, flourish briefly, and then fade, leaving only hints of what once was. This creates a subtle eeriness, a reminder that progress is fragile, and that the ancients may have reached heights we have only rediscovered in modern times. The Antikythera mechanism also underscores the intimate relationship between human curiosity and the cosmos. The careful tracking of celestial bodies suggests a desire not merely for utility, but for understanding, a yearning to perceive the patterns that govern time and motion. Its gears and dials are instruments of observation and prediction, translating the infinite complexity of the heavens into a tactile, comprehensible form. In this sense, the mechanism becomes a bridge between humanity and the universe, a physical manifestation of our attempt to grasp what is vast and intangible. As the narrative gently unfolds, the listener begins to appreciate the contrast between permanence and impermanence. The gears themselves, corroded yet enduring, speak of a human desire to preserve knowledge through material form. Yet the mechanism's disappearance into the sea underscores the fragility of human achievement against the forces of nature. It is a mystery both precise and elusive, concrete in design, but intangible in meaning. The calm rhythms of its gears mirror the quiet persistence of curiosity, a curiosity that persists across millennia, quietly challenging our assumptions about what is possible for civilizations long past. The story of the Antikythera mechanism naturally leads to broader reflections on humanity's ongoing struggle to reconcile knowledge with mystery. Its existence reminds us that sophistication can appear where we least expect it, that innovation is not bound by linear history, and that even the most meticulously designed tools may leave behind questions as enduring as their functions. It occupies a space between certainty and wonder, science and poetry, known and unknown, a place where listeners are encouraged to linger in thought, imagining the hands that once carefully turned its gears and the minds that conceived it. As this section closes, the Antikythera mechanism remains both revealed and concealed, a symbol of human ingenuity that defies easy explanation. Its legacy is not only in its mechanics, but in the quiet awe it inspires, the recognition that the past can hold surprises capable of reshaping our understanding of history and invention. From the sunken depths of the Aegean, the journey flows naturally to the windswept plains of England, where Stonehenge rises with solemn permanence, measuring time and celestial patterns in its own enigmatic way. On the mist-covered plains of Wiltshire, England, a circle of stones rises with quiet authority, weathered yet resolute against the passage of thousands of years. Stonehenge, one of the most iconic and enduring monuments of the ancient world, stands not merely as a collection of rocks, but as a testament to human curiosity, ritual, and ingenuity. From a distance, the site appears simple, a ring of standing stones. But as listeners draw closer, the subtle complexity of its construction and alignment reveals itself. This section invites the audience to move gently across these windswept fields, to imagine the ancient people who labored here, and to sense the interplay between purpose, mystery, and the forces of time itself. Stonehenge was constructed in multiple stages over centuries, beginning around 3100 BCE and continuing into the second millennium BCE. The sheer effort required to transport and raise its massive sarsen stones, some weighing up to 25 tons, suggests an extraordinary level of social organization and technical skill. Even more remarkable is the precision with which the stones were aligned. Many of them mark the movements of the sun and moon, capturing solstices and lunar cycles with exacting care. The monument functions simultaneously as a ritual space and a sophisticated calendar, measuring time and celestial patterns in a way that speaks to both practicality and spiritual significance. Walking mentally through the site, one can sense the contrast between permanence and transience. The stones themselves, carved and erected with immense care, have endured millennia of wind, rain, and frost. Yet the people who built them, and the rituals performed within their circle, have long since vanished. This juxtaposition, the enduring presence of stone against the ephemeral nature of human life, creates a quiet, haunting resonance. Stonehenge becomes more than a physical structure. It becomes a meditation on the human desire to reach beyond mortality, to capture time, and to align ourselves with the cosmos. The placement of the stones reflects careful observation of the natural world. The heel stone, for example, aligns with the sunrise on the summer solstice, while other stones mark the winter solstice and important lunar events. Some researchers propose that these alignments also correspond to agricultural cycles, guiding planting and harvesting in a pre-literate society. Such precision suggests a sophisticated understanding of astronomy long before the advent of telescopes or modern scientific instruments. Yet despite these insights, the broader purpose of Stonehenge remains elusive. Was it primarily a ceremonial site, a social gathering space, a temple, or all of these at once? The monument refuses to answer definitively, leaving space for quiet contemplation. One of the most compelling aspects of Stonehenge is the contrast between its monumental scale and its subtle complexity. The stone's arrangement may appear straightforward from the ground, but patterns emerge only when viewed from specific vantage points or in relation to celestial events. This careful interplay between observation, geometry, and ritual suggests that the builders were deeply attuned to both their environment and the cycles of the heavens. The monument embodies a delicate balance. It is simultaneously functional, symbolic, and awe-inspiring. For listeners, this balance reinforces the central tension of ancient mysteries, the coexistence of the known and the unknown, of order and ambiguity. The surrounding landscape adds to the site's enigmatic allure. Burial mounds, avenues, and smaller stone circles to the plain, indicating that Stonehenge was part of a larger ceremonial and cultural complex. These additional features suggest that the site was not isolated, but integrated into a broader spiritual and social network. Traveling through this landscape mentally, one can sense the rhythm of life in prehistoric Britain. Communities gathering, rituals unfolding, and the cycles of sun and moon guiding both work and belief. Stonehenge, in this context, becomes a focal point of human aspiration, a place where people sought to understand their place in the cosmos and to connect with forces larger than themselves. The mystery of construction continues to captivate modern observers. How did these ancient people transport massive stones from distant quarries, sometimes over 150 miles away? How did they lift and position them with such precision, using only rudimentary tools and manpower? Experiments with sledges, levers, and earthen ramps have offered plausible methods, yet the sheer scale of the effort evokes a sense of quiet awe. Each hypothesis underscores the ingenuity and determination of a people whose knowledge and techniques were sophisticated, yet whose full understanding remains just beyond reach. This combination of clarity in achievement and ambiguity in method deepens the monument's enigmatic aura. Stonehenge also invites reflection on the human need for alignment and measurement. The ancient builders were observing the sky with meticulous care, tracking patterns that would govern the rhythm of their lives. In doing so, they created a physical manifestation of abstract knowledge, a monument that connects earthly existence to celestial order. The stones themselves become a language, a silent dialogue between humans and the cosmos. Listeners can imagine the slow passage of time, the sun rising and setting along designated lines, and the cycles of the moon watched from within the circle. Each moment of observation reinforces the duality of permanence and impermanence, knowledge and mystery. The emotional resonance of Stonehenge is subtle yet profound. The site does not overwhelm with spectacle, but draws the listener into a contemplative state, where the weight of history and the precision of human endeavor create a quiet tension. Standing, or imagining standing, among the stones, One senses the presence of countless generations, their intentions preserved in stone, yet open to interpretation. This delicate interplay between evidence and enigma makes Stonehenge a cornerstone of our exploration into ancient mysteries, a reminder that some questions do not require immediate answers to be meaningful. As this section concludes, Stonehenge serves as a bridge between tangible achievement and enduring uncertainty. Its stones measure not only time and celestial patterns, but also the depth of human curiosity and a longing to connect with the universe. The narrative gently guides listeners onward, toward the frozen expanses of Siberia, where the Denisovan puzzle waits. A ghostly species whose traces in our DNA raise questions about humanity's shadowed past, and about mysteries written not in stone, but in flesh and gene. In the remote, frozen expanse of Siberia, hidden deep within the icy caves of the Altai Mountains, fragments of bone quietly defy our understanding of human history. These fragments belong to a species known as Denisovans, a branch of the human family tree that was entirely unknown until the 21st century. Unlike the monuments, mechanisms, or geoglyphs we have explored, this mystery is not written in stone or metal, but encoded in the very essence of life, DNA. This section invites listeners to enter the quiet, frozen corridors of deep time, to imagine a species that lived alongside our ancestors, and to contemplate the subtle yet profound traces they have left within us. The discovery of Denisovans began with a single finger bone, found in Denisova Cave, which had lain undisturbed for tens of thousands of years. At first glance, it seemed unremarkable. It was only through the painstaking analysis of genetic material that scientists realized they had stumbled upon an entirely new hominin lineage. No skeletons, no tools, no buildings. Just a fragment of bone and a few teeth revealed a species whose existence had remained hidden in the shadows of human history. The contrast between the clarity of the DNA evidence and the absence of physical remains creates a haunting, almost ethereal quality. The Denisovans exist not in museums or monuments, but within our very cells, silently shaping the story of humanity. Genetic studies have revealed that Denisovans interbred with both Neanderthals and Homo sapiens. Modern humans, particularly those in Asia and Oceania, carry fragments of Denisovan DNA, a genetic echo of encounters that occurred tens of thousands of years ago. These genetic remnants influence traits as diverse as immune response, altitude adaptation, and perhaps even metabolism. In a quiet, almost invisible way, the Denisovans persist within us, a subtle reminder that human history is far more complex than any single narrative might suggest. This realization creates a reflective tension between the concrete and the abstract. The bones are minimal, the evidence minimal, yet their impact endures. The mystery deepens when considering what life might have been like for the Denisovans. The cave where their remains were found is a place of quiet stillness, a natural shelter shaped by wind, snow, and the slow passage of centuries. It is difficult to imagine their daily lives, their beliefs, or their interactions with neighboring species. They coexisted with Neanderthals and early Homo sapiens, sharing landscapes, resources, and perhaps even ideas. Yet, outside the few skeletal fragments and their DNA signatures, they left almost no trace of their culture, leaving modern science to fill the gaps with cautious speculation. This absence, the ghostly quality of their existence, creates a quiet, haunting allure, a reminder of the fragility and transience of life itself. Researchers have attempted to reconstruct aspects of Denisovan life through genetic clues, stone tools found in the cave, and comparisons with Neanderthal and early human populations. Some evidence suggests that Denisovans were skilled hunters and toolmakers, capable of adapting to harsh environments. The patterns of interbreeding hint at social interactions complex enough to leave lasting genetic legacies. Yet for all these insights, their world remains largely hidden, like a book whose pages are written in a language we have only just begun to understand. The tension between the scientific certainty of DNA and the vast unknowns of lived experience gives the Denisovans a quiet, almost spectral presence in the story of human history. The discovery of Denisovans also challenges assumptions about linear progress and isolated development in early human evolution. For decades, textbooks presented a tidy story of Homo sapiens spreading out and gradually replacing other hominins. Denisovans, like Neanderthals, complicate this narrative. They suggest a web of interactions, migrations, and interbreeding that is far more intricate than previously imagined. The landscape of ancient Eurasia was shared, fluid, and interwoven, and our ancestors were not the sole protagonists. In this way, the Denisovan puzzle embodies the contrast between what we thought we knew and the shadowed realities that science continues to uncover. The emotional resonance of Denisovans is subtle but profound. Unlike physical monuments, they leave no visual imprint, no towering structure to inspire awe. Their mystery is molecular, hidden in sequences of nucleotides that speak of life, adaptation, and survival. Yet this quiet, intangible presence is no less stirring. Listening to the story of the Denisovans encourages reflection on human identity, the thin line between existence and extinction, and the unseen connections that bind us to species we may never meet, except through the whispers of DNA. There is also a sense of eerie continuity. While their physical forms have vanished, the Denisovans live on in us. The traits they carried, the adaptations they evolved, the survival strategies they developed. These aspects persist in modern humans. In a quiet, almost poetic way, the Denisovans are not entirely gone. They are threads woven into the fabric of our being, a subtle, invisible monument to a lineage that once walked beside ours. This duality, existence both absent and present, creates a soft tension that lingers in the mind, a reminder that history is not merely what we can see, but also what endures in hidden forms. As the narrative unfolds, the listener is drawn to the quiet majesty of these ghostly ancestors. Their presence challenges us to expand our sense of time, of coexistence, and of the vast network of life that shaped our evolution. The caves of Siberia become a symbol of the unseen, a place where life persisted in forms we scarcely recognize, leaving only delicate traces for future generations to uncover. The story of the Denisovans encourages a shift from searching for monumental evidence to listening for subtle signs, a lesson in patience, observation, and reverence for the unknown. This section naturally transitions to the next mystery, moving from the intangible traces hidden in DNA to the visible, yet indecipherable, marks left by humans on another isolated land. On the windswept slopes of Easter Island, the Rongorongo script awaits, a series of symbols etched into wood, a language silenced by time. Like the Denisovans, it challenges modern science, whispering secrets of a culture that once thrived, yet left only fragments for us to contemplate. The journey from frozen caves to tropical isolation continues, carrying with it the same tension between clarity and mystery that defines the human past. Far across the vast Pacific Ocean, on a tiny island known as Rapa Nui, a mysterious script waits quietly for anyone patient enough to listen. Rongorongo, the undeciphered writing system of Easter Island, is unlike anything else in the world. A series of glyphs etched into wooden tablets, standing as silent witnesses to a civilization whose voice has mostly vanished. Unlike monumental stones or mechanical devices, Rongorongo is delicate, portable, and easily lost. Yet, despite its fragility, it carries an aura of profound significance, a whisper of thoughts and knowledge that the modern world has struggled to interpret. This section draws listeners into the windswept landscapes of Easter Island, inviting contemplation of a culture's fleeting yet enigmatic expression. The island itself is remote, a solitary landmass dotted with volcanic cones, gentle slopes, and the iconic Moai statues. It is within this isolation that the Rongorongo tablets were discovered in the 19th century, long after the society that produced them had undergone profound upheaval. The glyphs are carved in flowing, linear patterns, often read in reverse boustrophedon, a method where lines alternate direction. The symbols depict abstract shapes, humans, animals, and combinations thereof, but their meaning remains obscure. Unlike other ancient writing systems that left extensive records or evolved into languages we can trace, Rongorongo offers a glimpse into communication that has been muted, leaving only the barest hints of the ideas it once conveyed. Scholars have long debated the origin of Rongorongo. Some suggest it may have been influenced by Polynesian oral traditions, translating chants, genealogies, or astronomical observations into a visual medium. Others hypothesize that the script was an independent invention, a rare instance of writing developed in isolation. The lack of a Rosetta Stone, a bilingual key, makes decipherment extraordinarily difficult. Even with modern computational analysis, the patterns resist conventional interpretation. This tension between the tangible evidence of human creation and the intangible nature of its meaning imbues the tablets with a quiet, haunting presence. The history of the island itself adds to the poignancy of Rongorongo. By the time European explorers arrived in the 18th century, the population had declined dramatically due to disease, slave raids, and social upheaval. Much of the cultural context necessary to understand the script had been lost. The Moai, statues that once stood as monumental guardians, now cast long shadows over empty landscapes, echoing the silence of the tablets. Rongorongo becomes not just a system of writing, but a symbol of lost knowledge, a delicate record of a people whose voices are mostly gone, yet whose creativity endures in these wooden relics. Attempts to decipher Rongorongo have produced tantalizing hints, but no definitive answers. Some researchers see patterns suggesting calendrical or astronomical data, while others interpret the glyphs as historical or religious texts. Comparisons with Polynesian myths and chants offer clues, yet the script resists simplification. Each proposed translation is met with skepticism, and each new discovery deepens the mystery. In this way, the script functions not as a puzzle to be solved quickly, but as a meditation on the limits of understanding. Its ambiguity invites quiet reflection, asking the observer to linger in wonder rather than rush toward resolution. The physicality of the tablets themselves is striking. Made from wood, they are fragile and susceptible to decay in the island's humid environment. Yet some have survived for centuries, a testament to both craftsmanship and care. The carvings are precise, flowing, and deliberate, suggesting skilled artisans who understood the weight of their work. Each line of glyphs was etched with intention, as though the act of creation was as significant as the content itself. Listeners can imagine the careful hands, the focused attention, and the cultural knowledge required to produce these symbols, a labor of thought and devotion that has endured despite the collapse of the society that created it. There is a profound eeriness in engaging with a script that cannot be read. The glyphs convey a presence without clarity, offering glimpses of meaning but withholding full comprehension. This absence is not emptiness. It is a space for imagination, speculation, and reverence. The observer becomes a participant in a quiet dialogue with the past, aware that every symbol represents ideas, stories, or knowledge that once shaped daily life, governance, or ritual. Rongorongo exemplifies the tension between what can be seen and what can be known, a quiet meditation on the limits of both memory and scholarship. The isolation of Easter Island amplifies this effect. Unlike continental civilizations, whose records often survived through interaction, trade, or conquest, Rongorongo was produced in a setting removed from extensive external influence. The script embodies both the uniqueness and vulnerability of its culture. The survival of even fragments is remarkable, as each piece represents a thread connecting modern observers to thoughts conceived in solitude, carried across centuries, and preserved against the odds. In its quiet resilience, the script mirrors the island itself, remote, enduring, and enigmatic. Rongorongo also prompts reflection on the broader nature of human expression. Writing, at its core, is a bridge between minds across time. When that bridge is incomplete, when the language has vanished and the context is lost, we are left with echoes. The tablets are echoes of thought, intention, and culture, preserved not for comprehension alone, but for contemplation. They remind listeners that mystery is an essential companion to knowledge, that the act of inquiry can be as meaningful as the answer itself. In this way, Rongorongo resonates with all other ancient enigmas. It is both a challenge and an invitation, a whisper of the human impulse to communicate across time. As this section draws to a close, the Rongorongo script leaves a lingering sense of quiet awe. It embodies the fragility and resilience of human knowledge, the contrast between visible creation and hidden meaning, and the enduring curiosity that drives discovery. From the remote slopes of Easter Island, the narrative now begins to shift toward a mystery submerged in the waters of Japan, the Yonaguni Monument, where natural and human forces collide and where the boundary between deliberate design and geological happenstance blurs, continuing our journey through the delicate interplay of fact and enigma. In the depths of the Pacific Ocean, just off the coast of Yonaguni, Japan, lies a structure that seems to straddle the line between nature and human design. Submerged beneath the waves, the Yonaguni Monument is an underwater formation that has sparked debate among archaeologists, geologists, and enthusiasts for decades. Some claim that it is the result of ancient human ingenuity, a man-made pyramid or ceremonial site lost to the sea. Others argue that it is simply a natural rock formation, shaped by the forces of erosion over millennia. The truth remains elusive, and this ambiguity imbues the Yonaguni Monument with an enigmatic quality, inviting contemplation on the delicate line between nature's randomness and humanity's intention. This section gently guides listeners through the mystery of Yonaguni, weaving together the strange beauty of the monument with the uncertainty that surrounds it. The discovery of the monument occurred in 1987 when a local diver, Kahachiro Aratake, stumbled upon a series of unusual underwater terraces and stone structures while exploring the waters off Yonaguni Island. At first glance, the formation appeared to have been purposefully carved, with flat surfaces, straight edges, and right angles resembling those found in ancient man-made ruins. The more Aratake and others explored, the more they found large platforms, steps, and geometric formations that seemed to defy the natural processes of erosion. As the monument began to attract attention, the world was faced with a compelling mystery. Was this a lost city, a sunken temple, or just an incredible coincidence of nature's handiwork? The debate over Yonaguni's origin has been intense and passionate. Supporters of the theory that it is a man-made structure point to its sharp angles, right-angled terraces, and symmetrical features, which seem too precise to be the work of natural forces alone. They suggest that the site could be the remains of an ancient civilization, possibly one that existed long before recorded history, submerged by rising sea levels after a catastrophic event. Some even speculate that the structure could be thousands of years older than any known civilization, potentially linked to a lost culture or ancient global maritime network. The idea that a highly advanced civilization could have existed in this part of the world during the Pleistocene epoch, only to be erased by natural disasters, is a theory that excites many and fuels the mystery. However, others contend that the Yonaguni Monument is purely natural, a product of tectonic activity and erosion over thousands of years. They argue that the straight lines, terraces, and seemingly organized patterns are simply a result of natural fracturing and weathering processes. The underlying rock of the Yonaguni site is sandstone, a material that can break into large blocks with clean edges under the right conditions. Geological formations, such as the Grand Canyon and the Giant's Causeway in Ireland, showcase similar patterns created by natural forces, suggesting that Yonaguni's features may be the product of erosion rather than human craftsmanship. The contrast between these two interpretations, the possibility of an ancient human civilization versus a natural geological phenomenon, creates an ongoing tension. As listeners imagine diving into the clear waters around Yonaguni, they may feel the pull of both explanations. The eerie sense of ancient ruins, submerged beneath the waves, and the quiet, natural beauty of stone shaped by time and force. The sight of the monument's sharp lines cutting through the seafloor, the flat terraces rising like ancient steps, and the odd formations of rock all evoke the suggestion of human design. Yet they exist within the larger context of the ocean's dynamic processes, where time, water, and erosion work in tandem to carve the world. The idea of a lost civilization existing beneath the sea adds another layer of mystery to the monument. If Yonaguni is indeed man-made, it raises fascinating questions about the history of human habitation in the region. Could a highly advanced society have thrived on Yonaguni or nearby islands thousands of years ago, only to be swallowed by a rising sea after an ice age? The notion of sunken cities, lost to time and covered by the ocean's depths, has long captivated the human imagination. From Atlantis to the stories of submerged civilizations in various cultures, the idea of ancient peoples living in harmony with the sea before being swept away by natural forces resonates deeply with our sense of fragility and mystery. On the other hand, if the monument is a product of natural forces, it serves as a reminder of the remarkable ways in which nature can create formations that mimic human construction. Geology is a discipline full of surprising discoveries, where the Earth's forces shape landscapes in ways that often seem improbable. The Yonaguni Monument, in this context, could be seen as a geological wonder, a reminder of the power and unpredictability of nature. The fact that the formation seems to suggest human construction only adds to the awe, as it challenges our perceptions of what nature is capable of. In addition to the debate over its origins, the Yonaguni Monument also raises questions about how we define ancient civilization itself. We tend to think of early societies in terms of monumental architecture, written language, and complex social structures. However, the idea that a civilization could have left behind only fragments, small, subtle traces in the form of stones beneath the sea, suggests a different kind of history. A history where knowledge, technology, and culture were transmitted in ways that were not dependent on massive structures or permanent records. The possibility that such a civilization could have existed without leaving lasting marks on the land invites us to rethink our definitions of cultural advancement, reminding us that even the most powerful civilizations can leave little trace, swallowed by time and nature. The emotional impact of Yonaguni is profound, whether one believes it is a natural formation or the remnants of a lost civilization. The sight of the underwater terraces, appearing as though they were carefully crafted by human hands, evokes a quiet sense of wonder and sadness, as if we are gazing at the remnants of something lost, whether it is a physical structure or an entire way of life. The sensation of peering into the depths of the ocean, where history and nature merge, creates a powerful connection to the past, a past that is both distant and mysterious, and perhaps unknowable. As this section concludes, listeners are left with a sense of quiet reflection about Yonaguni's true nature. The monument, whether created by human hands or shaped by the earth, stands as a silent witness to the passage of time, an artifact that offers no simple answers but rather invites exploration and wonder. From a mysteries beneath the waves, we move forward into another enigma, a mysterious structure in the heart of the Amazon rainforest, where evidence of ancient human activity lies hidden beneath the dense canopy, awaiting discovery. The story continues, drifting between the known and the unknown, the human and the natural, as we seek answers that may forever elude us. Deep within the dense, impenetrable jungles of the Amazon, where the air is thick with humidity and the silence is broken only by the calls of unseen creatures, there exists a mystery that has long eluded discovery. Hidden beneath the thick canopy, buried by centuries of earth and vegetation, are the remnants of a civilization whose existence was once unknown to the outside world. The lost city of the Amazon, long believed to be a myth or an exaggeration, has now begun to reveal its secrets, offering tantalizing glimpses into a past that challenges everything we thought we knew about pre-Columbian societies in South America. This section invites listeners to journey into the heart of the jungle, to consider the structures and knowledge that once thrived beneath the green veil, and to ponder the forces that have concealed them for so long. The search for the lost city in the Amazon is not a recent phenomenon. For centuries, explorers and indigenous people alike have spoken of vast cities hidden within the rainforest, cities that were once home to complex societies. Yet, these claims were often dismissed as legends or fabrications, with many historians assuming that pre-Columbian Amazonian cultures were small, scattered, and primitive. It wasn't until the advent of modern technologies, particularly satellite imagery and LiDAR, light detection and ranging, that scientists began to uncover what had long been suspected. The Amazon was not a pristine wilderness untouched by human hands, but rather a landscape shaped by sophisticated civilizations. In the 21st century, groundbreaking discoveries have shifted the narrative. Using LiDAR, researchers have scanned vast portions of the Amazon, revealing a network of previously hidden structures that seem to stretch for miles beneath the jungle floor. These discoveries have uncovered sprawling urban centers, agricultural terraces, and intricate road systems, all of which suggest that the ancient civilizations of the Amazon were far more advanced than previously thought. The structures are not isolated. They form a web of interconnected settlements, revealing a sophisticated understanding of urban planning and resource management. The contrast between the dense, wild vegetation above and the orderly, purposeful structures below creates a striking dichotomy. What once seemed like an untamed wilderness now appears as a testament to human ingenuity, lost to time and nature. The implications of these findings are profound. For centuries, the Amazon was thought to be a hostile and uninhabitable place, where human societies would struggle to survive due to the dense jungle, the lack of fertile soil, and the constant threat of disease. However, the evidence uncovered by LiDAR has revealed a different story. It suggests that ancient peoples not only survived in the Amazon, but thrived, creating complex societies capable of building monumental structures, managing large-scale agriculture, and developing sophisticated technologies. The discovery challenges the conventional wisdom about ancient civilizations, showing that human societies were capable of shaping their environments in ways that we had not previously imagined. The lost city, still not fully understood, has become a symbol of the Amazon's hidden history. While much remains to be uncovered, the initial findings suggest that the people who lived in this region built vast networks of roads, canals, and earthworks to manage the flow of water, create fertile land for agriculture, and connect distant communities. These findings point to the existence of a society that was highly organized and well-developed, with a deep understanding of the landscape and the forces of nature that governed it. The discovery of these cities beneath the jungle floor provides a sense of connection to a people who, despite being erased by time and the relentless growth of the forest, left behind a legacy that has only recently begun to surface. What is most striking about the discovery of these ancient Amazonian cities is not only the scale of the structures, but also their intricate design. The cities were not haphazardly constructed, but were carefully planned, with streets, plazas, and temples arranged according to a deliberate order. Some of the roads were over 30 feet wide, a scale that suggests a well-organized society capable of mobilizing large numbers of people for construction and maintenance. The urban planning of these cities reveals a deep knowledge of spatial organization and infrastructure, showcasing an advanced understanding of logistics and engineering. The fact that these cities were built within the challenging environment of the Amazon adds an element of awe to their construction. How did these societies overcome the obstacles of the dense jungle and the ever-changing climate to create such lasting monuments? Yet, despite the remarkable discoveries, much about these ancient Amazonian civilizations remains shrouded in mystery. The names of the people who lived there, their language, their culture, and their beliefs have all been lost to history. There are no written records to help piece together the story of their rise and fall. What led to the abandonment of these cities? Was it environmental changes, social collapse, or the arrival of external forces, such as European colonization, that led to their demise? The unanswered questions multiply, leaving a sense of unfinished discovery, like an unfinished puzzle whose final pieces may never be found. Perhaps the most haunting aspect of the lost city of the Amazon is its isolation. These cities flourished long before the arrival of European explorers, yet they remained hidden from the outside world for centuries. The thick jungle, which has long been a barrier to exploration, concealed them for so long that they became mere whispers in the annals of history, relegated to the realm of myth. Now, thanks to modern technology, these lost civilizations are being revealed, but the mystery of how they were forgotten and why they were abandoned remains as elusive as ever. The contrast between the thriving cities that once existed and the dense, untamed jungle that has swallowed them up invites reflection on the fragility of human civilization. What survives in the end? How much of our own society, once mighty and powerful, could also be swallowed by the earth, forgotten by time? As we draw closer to the end of this section, there's a quiet reflection on the people who lived in these forgotten cities. They are not just figures of the past, but are part of a larger human narrative. The civilizations of the Amazon, though lost to time, are reminders of the ingenuity, adaptability, and resourcefulness of humanity. The mystery of their existence, their rise, their accomplishments, and their eventual disappearance mirrors the larger mystery of human history itself. Just as these cities were hidden beneath the dense jungle, so too are countless other stories of human achievement and failure, waiting to be discovered or lost forever beneath the sands of time. In the silence of the jungle, the lost city of the Amazon continues to call out to us, its secrets slowly revealed, one layer at a time. The narrative shifts from this vast, natural labyrinth of history to another that is equally hidden, though far more recent, into the mysteries of the pyramids of China, where the whispers of the past echo in the vast tombs of emperors. The adventure through forgotten civilizations continues, leading the listener deeper into the heart of human history. In the remote, rolling hills of China's Shaanxi province, a series of enigmatic mounds rise from the earth, their shapes soft and undisturbed by time. These mounds, often overlooked in favor of Egypt's iconic pyramids, are no less significant in the story of ancient civilizations, and yet they have remained largely hidden from the global gaze for centuries. The so-called pyramids of China are scattered across the vast, windswept plains, buried beneath a cloak of soil and vegetation, keeping their secrets locked away from modern civilization. Despite being largely unexcavated, they are thought to represent the burial sites of powerful emperors from the Western Han Dynasty, as well as other significant figures from China's ancient past. Their purpose, design, and the people they commemorate remain a mystery, one that invites speculation and wonder, leaving us to imagine the quiet, forgotten legacy that lies beneath their surface. The first reports of the Chinese pyramids began circulating in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Yet for decades, these structures were largely ignored by mainstream historians and archaeologists. The mainstream attention that ancient Egypt garnered often overshadowed any discussion surrounding the mounds in China, despite their ancient origins. For many years, the Chinese pyramids were thought to be natural geological formations, mere hills shaped by erosion or ancient farming practices. It wasn't until the 20th century, particularly in the 1940s, that aerial surveys and local investigations suggested that many of the mounds were, in fact, man-made. These findings hinted at the existence of a lost tradition of pyramid construction in ancient China, but the full scope of these structures remained shrouded in mystery, with further exploration and excavation often stymied by political and cultural sensitivities. The largest and most famous of these pyramids is the tomb of Emperor Qin Shi Huang, located near the ancient capital of Xi'an. His tomb, which is believed to house the famous terracotta army, is often mistakenly associated with the more commonly known pyramids of Egypt due to its monumental scale and the grandeur of the surrounding complex. However, unlike Egypt's Great Pyramid of Giza, the pyramids in China are not made of massive stone blocks, but rather constructed with earth, wood, and other materials that have largely disintegrated over time. Some of these mounds, especially those in the Xi'an region, have been severely eroded, with only their outlines visible today. It is this erosion, combined with centuries of neglect, that has left them looking much like natural hills, their true form obscured from view. What sets the pyramids of China apart from their Egyptian counterparts is the sheer obscurity of their purpose and the lack of extensive exploration. The tombs themselves, if indeed they are burial sites as speculated, contain little visible evidence of the grand funerary rituals that were common in other ancient cultures. No elaborate inscriptions or grand monuments like the pyramids of Egypt adorn these sites. Instead, they are covered by earth and vegetation, preserving their secrets beneath layers of time. Some of the pyramids, most notably those in the vicinity of Xi'an, have been shown to be the burial sites of emperors from the Han Dynasty, a period that ruled China with power and influence for over 4 centuries. Yet despite their historical significance, these pyramids have largely been ignored in favor of more popular sites, leaving much of their history untold. In stark contrast to the grand, open-air tombs of Egypt, these Chinese pyramids are largely hidden from view, inviting a sense of quiet mystery. The absence of major excavation or preservation efforts, due to both political restrictions and the fact that the pyramids are less widely recognized internationally, has preserved the pyramids in a state of enigmatic stillness. The decision to keep them largely untouched is a subtle reflection of China's own complex relationship with its ancient past. Whereas Egypt's pyramids have been celebrated and studied with great enthusiasm, the Chinese pyramids have been left to rest beneath a quiet veil, their legacy barely scratched by modern investigation. The shape of the Chinese pyramids themselves is telling. Unlike the perfectly pointed pyramids of Egypt, many of these structures in China are more subdued, with wide, flattened tops and steep sides. The reason for this difference in design may have been influenced by the specific cultural and geographical factors of ancient China, where tombs were often built to reflect the cosmic order and the structure of the universe itself. The design of the pyramids could symbolize the mountains of China, revered as sacred places that connected the earth to the heavens. This connection between the natural world and the spiritual realm was a central concept in Chinese philosophy and religion, making the pyramid shape a logical choice for the burial sites of their emperors. The mystery surrounding these pyramids extends beyond their purpose and design. It also involves the many unanswered questions about who built them and why they have remained hidden for so long. While it is widely believed that the pyramids were constructed during the reigns of several dynasties, including the Qin and Han dynasties, the methods of construction are still unclear. Unlike the massive stone blocks of Egypt's pyramids, which are meticulously cut and placed with incredible precision, the pyramids of China are composed of earth, mud, and other organic materials. It's possible that the labor and techniques used to construct these pyramids were very different from those employed in Egypt, making them harder to study and understand. Additionally, the lack of extensive excavation means that the tombs themselves may still hold undiscovered treasures, further adding to the intrigue of these monuments. Another layer of mystery surrounds the discovery of the tomb's contents. Although the tomb of Emperor Qin Shi Huang is famous for the terracotta army, which was uncovered in the 1970s, very little is known about the contents of the other pyramids. It is believed that they contain similar burial offerings, with sculptures, statues, and perhaps even the preserved remains of their royal occupants. The question remains, what might still lie hidden beneath the earth, waiting to be uncovered? Will future excavations reveal more about the lives of these ancient rulers, or will their secrets remain locked beneath the soil? The emotional resonance of the Chinese pyramids is quiet but powerful. These structures, standing alone in the vastness of China's landscape, evoke a sense of awe and mystery that contrasts with the more familiar and accessible pyramids of Egypt. The pyramids of China offer no easy answers, no spectacular displays of grandeur. Instead, they offer an invitation to reflect on the transient nature of human civilization, the mysteries of time, and the quiet, often overlooked legacies left behind by those who came before us. Their silence speaks volumes, encouraging us to reconsider what we know about the ancient world and to acknowledge that there is still so much left to uncover. As we leave the stillness of China's pyramids behind, the journey through ancient mysteries continues. We move from the mounds of the distant past to the frigid landscapes of the Arctic, where another enigmatic story awaits. The mystery of the ancient Viking settlements in North America, hidden beneath the ice and snow, waiting for the quiet discovery of their lost history. The story unfolds as we move across continents, uncovering the whispers of ancient civilizations, each one unique yet bound by the shared desire to leave something behind, something that will echo through time. Beyond the well-trodden paths of European history, far across the Atlantic Ocean, lies a story largely forgotten in the mainstream narrative of the Vikings. While many know of their raids, their ships, and their settlements in places like England, Ireland, and even Iceland, there remains a more mysterious chapter of Viking exploration that has remained hidden beneath the layers of time. Their presence in North America, centuries before Christopher Columbus ever set sail. The Viking settlements of North America, notably the site of L'Anse aux Meadows in Newfoundland, Canada, have become a cornerstone of archaeological intrigue, suggesting that the Norse reached the shores of the New World around 1000 AD, an astounding 500 years before the widely accepted voyages of European explorers. L'Anse aux Meadows, discovered in 1960 by Norwegian archaeologist Helge Ingstad and his wife in Stein, is perhaps the most significant and well-known Viking site in North America. Located at the northern tip of Newfoundland, it was here that the remains of Norse-style structures were uncovered. Longhouses and workshops built with the same craftsmanship and methods used by Viking settlers in Greenland and Iceland. The discovery of this site immediately challenged conventional wisdom about the Vikings, suggesting not only that they had ventured across the Atlantic, but that they had established a permanent outpost in what would eventually become Canada. However, as compelling as the evidence is, questions linger about the extent of their settlement in North America and why their presence there did not become a permanent fixture in the continent's history. The Viking voyages to North America are most famously chronicled in the Icelandic sagas, epic poems that tell of the exploits of explorers like Leif Erikson. According to the sagas, Leif and his crew sailed west from Greenland, eventually landing in a place they called Vinland, where they encountered the indigenous peoples and established settlements. While the sagas provide vivid descriptions of the New World, including its fertile land and abundant resources, they are often regarded with skepticism, partly because they mix myth and history. It is only with the discovery of archaeological sites like L'Anse aux Meadows that we begin to see the possibility that these ancient tales may contain elements of truth, suggesting that the Vikings did indeed reach North America, and for a time, thrive there. One of the most intriguing aspects of the Viking presence in North America is the contrast between what we know and what remains elusive. The Viking settlement at L'Anse aux Meadows consists of a small cluster of buildings, most of which were constructed using sod and timber, a design typical of Viking architecture. These structures, while modest in comparison to the grand stone fortresses of later European explorers, represent the functional ingenuity of the Norse. Yet, as impressive as these ruins are, they reveal little about the larger scope of Viking exploration. How far did the Vikings travel? Did they establish other settlements along the North American coast? Or was L'Anse aux Meadows an isolated outpost? What happened to the settlers who arrived there? These questions have yet to be fully answered, and the silence surrounding them only deepens the mystery. What is especially striking is the absence of a more lasting Viking legacy in North America. Unlike the robust colonies the Vikings established in Greenland, where they farmed, raised livestock, and traded, the settlement at L'Anse aux Meadows seems to have been abandoned after only a few decades. No clear evidence of further Norse settlements in the New World has been uncovered, and the reasons for this abandonment remain speculative. Some scholars suggest that the Vikings may have faced hostility from indigenous populations, which could have led to their retreat. Others propose that the harsh climate and isolation of the North American coast, combined with the difficulties of maintaining long-distance maritime voyages, contributed to the collapse of the settlement. The absence of written records from the Vikings themselves makes it impossible to know for certain why their presence in North America was so short-lived. Despite these unanswered questions, the evidence of Viking exploration continues to unfold. In recent years, researchers have discovered more signs of Norse activity along the North American coastline, particularly in places like Maine and the Gulf of St. Lawrence. Artifacts such as metalworking tools, iron nails, and even fragments of Viking ship parts have been found, lending further credence to the theory that the Vikings may have established a broader network of trade and exploration across the Atlantic. The most tantalizing discovery came in 2001, when a team of archaeologists found a small, cross-shaped pendant at a site in Newfoundland, possibly indicating that the Vikings had some form of religious or cultural exchange with the indigenous peoples they encountered. These new discoveries raise the possibility that the Vikings were not only explorers but also traders, settlers, and perhaps even conquerors in the New World. Their interactions with indigenous populations, however, remain largely a mystery. Did they coexist peacefully, or did tensions lead to violent confrontations? The Norse sagas mention conflicts with native groups, but the historical accuracy of these accounts is difficult to verify. What is clear, however, is that the Vikings were among the first Europeans to reach the shores of North America, making them pioneers in an age of exploration that would only truly blossom half a millennium later. The Viking presence in North America is also a reminder of the limitations of historical records. For many years, the story of the Vikings in the New World was dismissed as legend or myth, largely because the evidence was fragmentary and inconclusive. It is only through modern archaeological techniques, such as carbon dating, ground-penetrating radar, and advanced mapping technologies, that we have been able to piece together a clearer picture of the Vikings' activities. The quiet persistence of these discoveries, often hidden beneath layers of earth or submerged beneath the sea, is a powerful metaphor for the mysteries that history keeps buried, waiting for the right moment to surface. The emotional resonance of the Viking exploration of North America is deep and layered. The thought of these rugged, seafaring people navigating vast and treacherous oceans, braving the unknown to explore lands that were, at the time, completely uncharted, evokes a sense of wonder and awe. It is a story of perseverance and curiosity, of individuals who dared to push beyond the boundaries of the known world. It is also a story of loss, as their settlement in North America was fleeting, their legacy largely erased by time, and their interactions with the indigenous populations largely forgotten. The Vikings, who were so skilled at leaving their mark on history, left behind only traces, fragments of artifacts, the ruins of longhouses, and the faintest echoes of their sagas, reminding us of the fragile nature of human endeavor and the mysteries that are often lost to the ages. As we leave behind the scattered remnants of Viking exploration, we move onward into the mysteries of the deep past, where other, even older, cultures await rediscovery. The next chapter takes us back to a time when the very earth itself was a map to be read, to the ancient megalithic sites of Europe, where stones were arranged not only to honor the gods but to align with the stars, opening a new door into the mysteries of human ingenuity. The journey through the past continues, with more forgotten histories and hidden stories yet to be uncovered. Across the rolling landscapes of Europe, scattered like ancient sentinels, stand the towering megaliths. Massive stones, some weighing many tons, placed with deliberate care and precision by long-forgotten hands. These megalithic sites, such as Stonehenge in England, Karnak in France, and the temple complexes of Malta, evoke a sense of awe, their true purpose remaining a mystery despite centuries of study. Their size, their alignment with celestial events, and their intricate design suggest that the builders were not only skilled engineers, but also possessed knowledge of astronomy, geometry, and natural forces that far exceeded what was previously believed to be the intellectual capacity of ancient peoples. This section delves into the captivating world of megalithic structures, exploring their significance, their mysterious origins, and the lost knowledge that these stones might conceal. The most famous of these megalithic sites is undoubtedly Stonehenge, located on the Salisbury Plain in southern England. For centuries, people have speculated about its purpose. Was it a temple for the ancient gods? A place for rituals and ceremonies? Or perhaps an astronomical observatory, built to track the movements of the sun, moon, and stars? Stonehenge's massive standing stones are arranged in a circular pattern, with some weighing as much as 25 tons and aligned with the solstices and equinoxes. The sheer precision with which these stones were placed, despite the absence of modern tools and technology, hints at an understanding of the cosmos that seems beyond the scope of prehistoric people. The method of transport, the purpose of the alignments, and the function of the site all remain subjects of intense debate. Yet, even as archaeologists uncover more about Stonehenge's structure, they're left with more questions than answers. The construction of Stonehenge spans several phases, with the first stones erected around 3000 BC, while the final layout was completed around 1600 BC. How could such an advanced understanding of astronomy and geometry have existed so early in human history? The people who built Stonehenge left no written records, and so we are left with only the stones themselves, speaking in silence to us across millennia. As the years pass, researchers have begun to explore the possibility that the megalithic builders had a more complex, spiritual understanding of the world, one that intertwined the celestial, the terrestrial, and the divine. This theme of celestial alignment is not confined to Stonehenge alone. Throughout Europe, there are dozens of similar megalithic sites, each with its own peculiarities but sharing a common thread, an intricate relationship with the stars and the sun. In the Carnac region of France, for example, over 3,000 stones are arranged in long lines that stretch across the landscape. These stones are not randomly placed. Their precise positioning suggests that they were intended to mark the passage of time, the rising and setting of the sun, and the phases of the moon. Some researchers have proposed that these stones formed part of an ancient calendar system, designed to track the changing seasons and agricultural cycles. This idea is supported by the presence of other megalithic structures, such as burial chambers and altars, indicating that these sites may have served a religious or ceremonial function as well. The megalithic temples of Malta are another compelling example of ancient knowledge embedded in stone. The temples, dating back to around 3600 BC, are among the oldest freestanding structures in the world. What makes these temples particularly fascinating is their intricate design and the evidence of advanced architectural knowledge. The temples were constructed using massive stone blocks, and their design incorporates complex geometric patterns, alignment with the sun's movement, and even auditory features. Some researchers believe that the builders of these temples had a deep understanding of acoustics, and that the temples may have been used for ritualistic purposes, where the vibrations of sound and the movement of light played a role in spiritual ceremonies. This suggests that the people of Malta, despite living in a distant, isolated part of the ancient world, possessed knowledge that spanned multiple disciplines, from architecture to astronomy to sound engineering. The question of why these megalithic sites were built, and by whom, is as elusive as the knowledge they embody. Who were the people capable of such feats of construction, and what motivated them to invest so much time, effort, and resources into building these vast stone monuments? One of the prevailing theories is that these sites were centers of religious and spiritual significance. The megalithic builders may have sought to align themselves with the cosmos, creating places where the human and divine could meet, where rituals could be performed to honor the gods or mark important celestial events. The alignment of the stones with the solstices and equinoxes suggests that these ancient cultures viewed the movements of the sun and stars as deeply meaningful, reflecting the rhythms of life and death, creation and destruction. Another theory is that these megalithic structures served as communal gathering places, where ancient societies came together to engage in social, political, and religious activities. The act of moving massive stones and assembling them into complex structures may have been a way to unite communities, providing a focal point for collective identity and cohesion. These sites could have been places where early forms of governance were practiced, or where important cultural events, such as harvest festivals or the changing of seasons, were celebrated. The fact that these sites are often located in areas with strategic importance, such as fertile lands or near trade routes, suggests that they may have played a role in the broader social and economic networks of prehistoric Europe. Yet, despite the growing body of evidence surrounding megalithic sites, the question of how such knowledge was passed down remains one of the great mysteries of these ancient cultures. Without written records, it is difficult to determine the methods of communication used by the builders of these sites. How do they transmit their complex understanding of the cosmos, architecture, and engineering to successive generations? Did they rely on oral traditions, passing down their knowledge through myths, stories, and rituals? Or was there a written system that has since been lost to history? The absence of definitive answers only deepens the allure of these ancient structures, inviting us to speculate about the lost knowledge they represent. What is clear, however, is that the megalithic sites of Europe are not mere relics of an ancient past. They are enduring symbols of human creativity and curiosity, representing a time when our ancestors sought to understand their place in the universe and to leave a mark on the world that would transcend the boundaries of time. These stones, weathered and worn by centuries of wind, rain, and erosion, continue to speak to us today, offering a glimpse into the lives and beliefs of the people who built them. Their silence is a powerful reminder that there are still many mysteries of the ancient world yet to be uncovered, waiting for the right moment to reveal their secrets. As we leave the megalithic landscapes of Europe behind, we journey forward into another world of ancient knowledge, one that lies beneath the icy waters of the Mediterranean, where submerged cities and lost civilizations continue to stir the curiosity of explorers and researchers alike. The story of the megalithic sites of Europe marks just one chapter in a much larger narrative, where every stone, every site, and every ancient structure offers new questions, new revelations, and new mysteries that beckon us to dive deeper into the past. Beneath the tranquil blue waters of the Mediterranean Sea, hidden from view for centuries, lie the remnants of once great civilizations that flourished along its shores. Cities of astonishing wealth and architectural brilliance, now lost to time, their streets and buildings submerged by rising seas or catastrophic events, remain silent witnesses to a world that has been swallowed by the ocean's depths. These sunken cities, scattered across the Mediterranean basin, hold secrets that continue to captivate archaeologists and explorers alike. Their discovery has not only deepened our understanding of ancient cultures, but also sparked the imagination with the possibility that there may be more submerged treasures lying just beneath the surface, waiting to be uncovered. This section takes us beneath the waves, diving into the mystery of these lost cities, exploring the wonders that have been lost to time, and considering the eerie connection between the past and the ocean's timeless embrace. Perhaps the most famous of these sunken cities is Atlantis, the mythical civilization first mentioned by the ancient Greek philosopher Plato. Though the exact location of Atlantis remains uncertain, the idea of a vast, advanced civilization that was suddenly swallowed by the ocean has inspired countless theories and legends. Plato described Atlantis as an island paradise, rich in resources, culture, and technology, which existed thousands of years before his time. According to his account, Atlantis was a powerful empire that eventually became corrupt and was destroyed in a single catastrophic event, a massive flood that caused the island to sink into the sea. Though the search for Atlantis has spanned centuries, no definitive evidence of the island's existence has ever been found. Nevertheless, the legend of Atlantis has influenced the search for other sunken cities in the Mediterranean, as the idea of an ancient civilization lost beneath the waves continues to resonate with the human desire to uncover hidden histories. One of the most significant discoveries of a sunken city in the Mediterranean came in the 20th century with the identification of the ancient city of Heracleion, also known as Thonis. Located off the coast of Egypt, Heracleion was once a thriving port city and religious center, mentioned in ancient texts but thought to have disappeared around 1,200 years ago. For centuries, the city was believed to be lost to history, but in 2000, French underwater archaeologist Frank Gaudio led a team of divers who discovered its remains on the floor of the Bay of Abu Qir, near Alexandria. The city's discovery was nothing short of extraordinary, revealing massive statues, ornate temples, sunken ships, and well-preserved artifacts. It was soon clear that Heracleion had once been a prosperous and influential city, playing a central role in trade between Egypt and Greece. The city's sudden disappearance was likely caused by a combination of natural disasters, including earthquakes and rising sea levels, which led to the gradual sinking of the city. The discovery of Heracleion was a breakthrough in understanding the history of ancient Egypt and its maritime trade networks. For centuries, Heracleion was mentioned in historical texts, including inscriptions from the reign of Alexander the Great, yet no one had ever been able to find its location. Now, thanks to advances in underwater archaeology, the remnants of Heracleion have brought new insights into the ancient world. The city's ruins are remarkable for their preservation, with statues of gods and pharaohs still visible in their original locations, providing a glimpse into the religious and cultural practices of the time. The ruins also include the remains of a grand temple dedicated to the Egyptian god Ammonius, and numerous shipwrecks that suggest the city's importance as a trading hub. Heracleion's rediscovery has forever changed our understanding of ancient Egypt and its interactions with other Mediterranean cultures, revealing a complex, interconnected world long forgotten beneath the sea. While Heracleion is one of the most significant sunken cities in the Mediterranean, it is far from the only one. The city of Pavlopetri, off the coast of southern Greece, is another remarkable discovery. Pavlopetri is thought to be the oldest submerged city in the world, dating back to around 2800 BC. Discovered in 1967 by marine archaeologist Nicholas Fleming, the city's remains are remarkably well preserved, including streets, buildings, and even entire neighborhoods. Pavlopetri was a thriving settlement during the early Bronze Age and is believed to have been a center of trade, connecting the Greek mainland with the Aegean Islands and beyond. The city was abandoned around 1,000 years ago, likely due to a combination of natural disasters, including earthquakes and rising sea levels, which caused the city to sink beneath the waves. Today, underwater archaeologists continue to study Pavlopetri, using modern technology like sonar imaging and 3D scanning to map the city in unprecedented detail. The discovery of Pavlopetri has provided new insights into early urban planning, trade networks, and the rise of complex societies in the ancient Mediterranean world. Other sunken cities, the Mediterranean seabed, each with its own story to tell. The city of Baiae, located in the Gulf of Naples, was once a luxurious resort destination for the Roman elite. Today, the remains of Baiae lie beneath the waters, and divers can explore its submerged villas, thermal baths, and temples. Baiae was known for its hot springs, which were believed to have therapeutic properties and was a popular vacation spot for wealthy Romans. However, like many cities in the region, it suffered from the gradual sinking of the land caused by volcanic activity and earthquakes. The once glorious city of Baiae, with its marble columns and lavish mosaics, now serves as a reminder of the fragility of human achievement and the unstoppable force of nature. In addition to the cities that have already been discovered, there are likely many more sunken cities waiting to be found beneath the Mediterranean's waves. Advances in underwater archaeology, remote sensing technologies, and sonar mapping have made it possible to locate and explore submerged ruins in unprecedented detail. Researchers continue to use these technologies to scan the ocean floor in search of new discoveries, and it is likely that many more ancient cities will be uncovered in the coming years. Some believe that the sunken city of Atlantis may yet be found, hidden beneath the sea and waiting to reveal its secrets to the world. The mystery of the sunken cities of the Mediterranean is not just about uncovering the remains of lost civilizations. It is also about understanding the forces of nature that shaped the ancient world. Rising sea levels, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and other natural disasters have had a profound impact on the history of the Mediterranean, erasing entire cities from the map and reshaping the landscape in ways that are still felt today. These events remind us that human history is not just the story of triumph and achievement, but also of vulnerability and loss. The cities beneath the waves are not just archaeological sites. They're monuments to the fleeting nature of human civilization, reminders that the world we inhabit today could one day be swallowed by time and tide. As we leave the sunken cities of the Mediterranean behind, we turn our attention to another mysterious world beneath the surface. The ancient underwater structures of Japan's Yonaguni Monument, where the boundary between nature and human design continues to blur. The journey through the depths of history continues, leading us ever deeper into the past, where more lost cities, forgotten cultures, and submerged wonders await discovery. Each of these places hidden beneath the waves tells a story of a world that once was, of civilizations that rose and fell, leaving only their echoes behind in the silent depths.